Hello, everyone. Before we dive into our presentation, I'm Glenn Saunders with Nuage Consulting Group. And I'll get a little bit more into my intro as we go through. And this is Shelly. Shelly.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm from A Bigger View. Nice to be with you. Looking forward to sharing with you what we've done.
Yeah, and thanks, everybody, for joining us on a Friday afternoon. So hopefully we can make this engaging. Shelly's actually going to be walking through some of the software. So you'll actually see it in live. Well, it's in a sandbox environment, but you'll actually get to see the capabilities of mobile technology and how it is utilized with this specific use case that we're going to be talking through. So with that, I'm going to dive into our slides here. All right. So as Josh mentioned, we're going to be talking about mobile technology for manufacturing and production. And obviously, in light of COVID, this has had a larger part as organizations are forced to kind of shut down to have social distancing and those types of things in the plant floor, and how this has impacted this particular organization that we'll be talking about. As mentioned, Glenn Saunders, I'm co-founder and partner at Nuage Consulting. I've been working with ERP for about 15 years now in a wide variety of different industries. Really started out wholesale distribution, did quite a bit in healthcare, mostly on the services side and some software side, and started getting into manufacturing. By no means an expert. I'm more of a generalist when it comes to ERP, which is where Shelly comes in, and she's really an expert in manufacturing and specifically in NetSuite manufacturing. Shelly?
Yeah, hi, my name is Shelly Gore, and I am with A Bigger View. I was an Oracle DBA in my old life, working on Wall Street for many years. Got into manufacturing about 9 years ago, fell in love with cloud technology, NetSuite. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to technology. I really enjoy it. And we really look forward to showing you what we've been doing, which is super helpful in the current moment that we're in, where people do have to work remote. And I just wanted to say also, thank you all for joining. Thank you for, Josh, for doing a great job with introductions and things like that. Melissa, I really enjoyed your session as well. So great to be with you all.
All right. And across the bottom here, you see some of the customers that we worked with. We actually had EpiServer CIO on the CIO Virtual Summit that we did on Monday. But today, we're really going to be talking about Watkins. Watkins 1854. And 1854, actually, I thought they were 1854. I'm thinking about a different customer. But they have been around since 1868. They are based in Winona, Minnesota. And really, they are kind of the town that Winona, or the company that built Winona as a town, so to speak. And they're a flavor and spice company. They started out with home-based businesses that people would sell their products, and now they've really transitioned to a flavor and spice company, producing everything from cinnamon to vanilla extract, all different types of flavor and spices, and largely based strictly out of this Winona office. It's actually quite beautiful if you're ever up there for whatever reason. Not that many people would go to Winona. And to give you a little feel, our team is dispersed throughout the United States. The only place we physically have an office location is actually in the Los Angeles area. And so we have done multiple implementations completely remote. As far as Watkins, they're in Minnesota, as mentioned, and we've been able to completely support them throughout the go live process without even traveling on site. Now, Shelly, I'll give it over to you to talk a little bit more about how that process has gone from a go live perspective.
Sure thing. As we were saying, Winona is beautiful. If you ever get a chance, they have a wonderful museum of the arts with the Hudson School, huge collection, plus a small collection of some of the greats from Europe. So do check it out if you get up there. Believe it or not, it's wonderful. Watkins is an old company. The building is old. They have Tiffany stained glass windows. They have this, distributed manufacturing through these buildings where you're kind of walking in and out of these different manufacturing areas. They really wanted to upgrade their capabilities, but also continue to be able to produce at the level that they always have been. And so we really stepped in to help them do that. And most of the work I do for them right now is remote, obviously because we can't travel, and we're able to support them very well.
Yeah, and along those lines, what was it that led Watkins to do this project? Because we worked with them for I want to say 9 months to a year, as they kind of couldn't decide when was the right time to make the move. But they were on a legacy ERP product, one of the N4 products, that the upgrade path wasn't really for them. They didn't like the cloud-based version. They were looking for something that was really a newer ERP system, really born and bred in the cloud, which NetSuite is. You get upgraded twice a year. Everybody in the world is on the same version. And then they wanted to improve on their functionality as well, right? Clarity and control, which we're going to talk about as we go through this, our deck today and demonstration, as well as the ability to continuously improve. A lot of times people spend a ton of money putting in a system, and then it just sits there and it stays that way, despite the fact that businesses change. I mean, think of what most businesses have gone through in the past 90 days as a change. NetSuite provides the ability to really continuously build upon existing functionality. They're always delivering new features and things that people can take advantage of. And that was really the driving factors. They wanted something more technologically advanced and something that would give them the ability to really capitalize on these key areas. What ultimately led them to NetSuite, and as we go through, we'll talk and we'll actually show NetSuite's capability. So talking about achieving control and clarity, then continuous improvement, as well as safety. Safety being a huge thing now. Obviously, safety is always big in manufacturing when you don't want people to get hurt, particularly when you're handling food and the risk of recalls and all the different SQF requirements that go into food manufacturing. So with control, it's all about the mobile technology, having real-time data capture, lot traceability as things move through the production cycle, and knowing when things are getting done, when you can expect to promise delivery to clients, to customers, all the way through the production cycle. Clarity in the reporting, so real-time data, not batch feeding from one system to another, and then having to put it in a data warehouse to be able to get reports 10 days after something was produced, or 20 days to even close the books. And then continuous improvement, looking at variance analysis, trying to, I would say one of the things that they were really trying to do is trying to reduce their safety stock, although that has changed a little bit, as Shelley might touch on as she goes through her part of the presentation. Is in light of the COVID pandemic, it's really changed their approach of making sure customers can get what they need, because they do have a lot of brand loyalty, because they aren't your run-of-the-mill spice company. They produce some very high-end areas. And then the safety aspect, reducing paper, reducing people in the production area, being able to abide by social distancing requirements, and still operating, including, as Shelley will mention, adding a third shift and what that means. Shelley, anything to add here?
The only thing I'll add is, right now their demand for their products has gone way up, like a lot of other food manufacturers, and they were having to add a shift, and this technology really assisted in that. And it was funny because we were having a conversation, and I was saying how important it is that the supply chain is not disrupted. And we heard about that earlier, in fact, in Melissa's presentation. And you would think, well, spices are not that important. And I said, but even if it's a psychology perspective, and it is food, it is very important that we can keep it going, and especially with that increased demand right now.
Okay. So control. So the ability to release jobs to the production floor, to manage the production schedule, to know, working with retail customers, knowing when things are going to go out, eliminating paper from the floor. One of the things working, and Scott was going to do this, and I'm doing a poor job of filling in for him. He's the VP of operations at Watkins, but he is on vacation today, hopefully a well-deserved one after the go live and everything. But one of the things I know with him is they were using very antiquated technology, old barcode scanners that would only work with their version of N4. They were like on a Windows, the old Windows mobile operating system. He cussed those things quite a few times, to say the least. But getting out of that into a process where they can release jobs, they can close jobs, they can monitor things without having to go down to the production floor and physically touch a piece of paper. And Shelly, I'll let you talk, and then you can dive into the demonstration as well.
Okay, great. I think what I'll do, I'm just going to go ahead and take you guys to the demonstration, because I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let me just try to get my screen share. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, got it. Okay, can people see my screen?
We can.
Okay, super. Okay, and you can still see my screen where it says Watkins Sandbox Work Order. Everyone can see that?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, super. Let's see. Let's try to get that a big screen if we can. There we go. Okay, good. So if you can see here, I'm in the sandbox. The reason I'm in the sandbox for this particular piece of the demo is I'm going to show you how the transactions work. So this is the ERP system. This is Oracle NetSuite. Some of you on the call are probably familiar with that. Here's a work order. Within that work order, I've got my bill of materials with my quantities and my component yields. And this is what it looks like inside the ERP. As soon as I jump into some of the mobile technologies, all of a sudden this goes away, and I want something very simple for the operators. So again, in my ERP, here is that particular product. Don't worry too much about the numbers here. And I can see that I've currently got 906 of those on the floor. And when I come over to my tablet, I come here and I'm producing Cayenne. That's the one we were just looking at. And I've got 9906 right now that I've produced, and I'm supposed to be producing 16,000. So this is the mobile interface. I'm going to go ahead and select my Workcenter to just get my work orders. So I'm pretending like I'm an operator on the floor. And as soon as I press that, I'm going to come into a mobile tablet that is basically a touch screen. If I have a tablet or an iPad, I can go ahead and stop the clock, and you're going to see the colors change. I can start it up again, and all of a sudden I'm going to produce some of this product. So I'm going to go ahead and produce, let's just go ahead and produce 50 more units of it. I'm just going to throw in a lot number here. I could have an expiration date that I put in of when it's going to expire. I'm just making that up. I'll say okay. And you see right here, there's a clock running that shows that those 50 units are being produced. Okay. When I come back over to my main ERP system, so I'm the operator on the floor now with the mobile technology. I've come back to my main one. I would like to see that production. So I would like to see that number increase, basically. Okay. And it may take a moment, so it is taking a moment. Give it another minute here. Okay, we'll give it a minute to do that. It is taking a moment right now, but we should see it increase by 50 units. So we'll give that just a minute. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and show you, this is a component, the FC109. This is a component in that production. So I'm also going to go back to my screen. I'm going to find that component, and I'm just going to go ahead and use up some of that. So I'm going to use up 50 units of that particular component. I can pick my lot number, and I can say, okay. So it's issuing that material now. There's 50 units, okay? And you can see that here. We should also see that number decrease because I'm decreasing it. So let's go back and let's make sure that this one got recorded. There it is. There's my extra 50. And I should also see this number decrease by the amount that I just said that I was going to be using. Okay, you saw that number decrease. That is basically what I'm trying to show you is that is the mobile technology. An operator on the floor is telling me what he produced, how much raw material he used, and that is showing up back here in my ERP system for the rest of the organization who does not need to be anywhere near this operator on the floor. They can all see what's going on, okay? A few other quick things. Glenn, please jump in if I miss anything specific that you think I should have talked about.
No, I mean, just it's got work instructions built in, different steps. Beyond just the mobile technology, it reduces the paper reliance on the shop floor. Let's add that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, you know, you can think about the safety issue now. I'm going to go ahead. This is a scrap. And this, by the way, these are all configurable options. You know, I can pick a different one that I want to be there. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that, but I'm going to report some scrap. So let's do 35 units of the inner pack corrugate, whatever that is. So you can see the scrap got recorded. I can also have a downtime. They record their setup, their breaks, their lunches, but also suppose they had a component defect go on. This is going to open up a secondary clock, and you see it turned yellow, so it's telling my operator that he did this, and it's opening up a secondary clock to record that downtime. So I'm going to go ahead and click that again. It goes back to green. So again, data of what is happening on the floor right now being recorded so that I can see it. Now, if I go back to my main window, and I'm going to switch to a different type of view called the normal view, and don't worry about this, this is just our speak for NetSuite. I come into a different screen. That one that you were just looking at is for my operator. This is for my supervisor. My supervisor comes in and can correct things. So you can see here, there's that 50 units that I put in. I can say, well, it was actually 45, or maybe it was 55 because there was some scrap happening or something happened. I can change all of that. I can check my downtimes. If you remember, we were doing the components defect. I can see that that downtime got recorded. My scrap, there's my, you can barely see that at the bottom, the inner pack corrugate, the 35 units. And I can also record some labor. I can say how many hours I spent on it, how many people spent that time. And when I save that, that all gets recorded back to my ERP system, okay? And just to show you that really quickly, what that might look like, here is production loss. And if you remember, I recorded some corrugates. So there's that inner pack corrugate 35. So everybody in my organization knows that I had to scrap this for whatever reason. And you can even Pareto that data, which I'll show a little bit more of later, but I can start to see how much did I lose today and on what. So very specific information all coming from that tablet. I saw that there was a couple of quality people on the call when I was looking through the list of names of people that were on this call. And for those quality people who are here, this is an item receipt. I'm going to go ahead and receive some curry powder in just a moment. Let me show you the quality queue. So this is the quality version of the mobile capabilities. And you can see here's my list of things that I need to inspect. I'm going to quickly receive, because this takes a moment to refresh, some curry powder, 900 pounds of it. I am in a lot controlled environment for Watkins. Obviously, they have high quality standards, and that's super important. I'm going to receive it. Here we go. I'm going to say okay to that. I'm going to save it. And what we'll see is, and it'll take a few minutes, that's why I wanted to do this first, is that will show up on my quality queue. So basically, I'm in the warehouse. I'm receiving it. By the way, I don't have a demo of it today, but we use mobile capabilities in the warehouse as well with our partner RF Smart, who does all the work with the scanners and that sort of thing. So this is, while this is saving, I'm going to pop over to my quality queue and show you what it looks like. So in my quality queue, when something gets received, I can say, yes, that passed inspection. That's what I just did. Oops, I got to enter the lot number here. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in since we're just doing a test case. When I do that and I'm the operator on this tablet, it turns green. That lets me know, hey, it passed. This one, I'm going to say it did not pass. So I'm going to say that one, not going to record it. And you can do numbers. You can do all kinds of fancy things. For today's demo, I just wanted to be quick about it. You can see that that failed. So I have a failure and a pass here, and I can go ahead and finish that inspection. And that immediately tells the rest of my organization that that failed, that we have a problem, that we need to go out there and look. But until that point, no one needs to go there, keeping the, again, the warehouse and the production floor safe. Here's that purchase order. You can see it just showed up. That's the one that I just received a moment ago. So it already put it on my queue and let me know that that's there. I can assign this to people, etc. I'm going to stop there for a moment, but that is showing mobile capabilities, which lets us capture what's happening on the production floor. Glenn?
All right. Let me get back here. Again, talking about control, those that are upstairs in the office know what's going on, what's been produced.
Sorry, Glenn, Josh here. Shelly, if you just click stop share there.
Got it.
Thanks,
Just found it.
Reducing the reliance on paper, really getting that real-time information and real-time control of exactly what's going on the shop floor. And this is something that's really allowed them to scale from a second to a third shift. It's easy to use. It doesn't take a ton of time to learn. It's very intuitive from a mobile capability standpoint. As far as the control clarity, reducing stockouts, providing real-time business intelligence. NetSuite's very flexible in that, so you don't have to call IT to write you a report. Being able to do those Paretos, as Shelly was mentioning, understanding the real-time cycle times to produce something, and they're in a lot of times doing batch environments, which is common in food and beverage, and understanding what those cycle times are, what those changeover times are, what those the cleaning of the different vats after each batch. And just providing that with real-time information that's easy to see and easy to understand in a real robust report. Shelly, and I'll let you touch on the rest.
Okay, again, I think I'll just jump right back into the demo to show it. Let me just share my screen again. And there we go. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. Let me know when you can.
See it?
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, as Glenn was just saying, we captured all that data on the floor. And that's super important because we need to know what happened when it's happening. People forget, right? If you ask them a week later, they'll tell you about this one dramatic event that has very little impact on the books, but they'll forget about all the little things that just bled time and money away from us. So what we want to do in the ERP is collect that data that's on the floor and bring it into a tactical decision-making process. Okay, there's strategic, which we'll go into last with continuous improvement. But right now we're looking at tactical. So we talked about control, getting the data, lot control, what happened. Now we're into clarity. What do we do with that information? Now, I want to point out, we're no longer in Sandbox. Okay, I was in Sandbox for that because I wanted to touch things and I wanted to show you material issues. We are now in production. This is what's happening right now on the Watkins floor. If you've ordered some spice from them, your order is now in this system right here waiting to be delivered to you. So this is what's happening right now. So all those people are putting that information in, and I'm able to then report on it. Now, what we did, and NetSuite gives us a lot of flexibility. That's this particular ERP. They're all different. This is, I think, one of, at least for me, the biggest strengths of NetSuite that I like. We created this menu for Watkins. This is their custom menu with their departments and the reports that those departments want to see. So with my accounting department, they care about the costing, the cost templates. They care about variance reporting. My advanced manufacturing team cares about other things. My production team, they want to know, how are we doing today? What are my downtimes? My quality team, what failed inspection? Supply chain, as we talked, we talked about so much with Melissa, how are we doing with what we're supposed to get in? Sales, what's fulfilled? So if I can go in here and create my own reports, I can create them specific, and each department can come to their section, but also other departments can come to their section when they need a crossover of information. And this is all curated and published results. So let's look at some of those results. This is my work order planning and status by Workcenter. Hopefully this is refreshing. Do you guys see a screen with lots of colors? Just want to make sure I'm not going fast. Okay, good. Okay, so this color coding down here at the bottom, it tells me what the color coding means. I created this report for them. We created the color coding together. Blue is complete. Green is in process. Yellow, I haven't started it. Orange is I haven't started it, and it has a date before today as its start date. But you can see here what's happening is I can see the work order, the item, I can see the Workcenter. I can also see how much has been completed. They overproduced -24, so this is great. Here they've overproduced 12. I might look down here and see, oops, we didn't produce quite as many. Oh no, we did more than we did. Sorry, here's one where we didn't produce as many. All that good to know from the sales guys, fulfillment. Here's my work orders in process. This is showing it in a bar format, in a quick format, that I can quickly overview what I'm working on today, what's in process, and how far along are we. This is what's happening right now on Watkins. I want to stress that again. This is today on the production floor, and I'm at home, halfway across the country. Very important point. Material shortages of the work orders that are released. If I'm in purchasing, I can again monitor this from wherever I'm at. I don't need to walk around the production floor or the warehouse to find out. Here's my downtimes for today. If I look down here, I see where the mechanical issues are. I can also alert my mechanic that there's a downtime. Go over there and start working on it. Quality inspections, what got rejected of what I was receiving? What are we in trouble with? When I come to my home, I can build out, and I just built this one for us today, I can build out these different dashboards where I have here, if something was rejected, it's going to alert me right away. Here's some work orders that are past due. Here's material shortages that I need to pay attention to. So I can create the dashboard for whatever it is that I would like to look at, and I can create dashboards and publish them for my other workers. So in conclusion of this section, this is my clarity section. It's tactical data, but I'm getting it from my production floor, live, what's happening, and now I'm able to take decisions no matter where I'm at. Glenn, back to you.
All right. Okay, so gathering all this information is really important. Being able to display it in a meaningful manner that's actionable is what really was driving this for Watkins. And then talking about the continuous improvement, the ability to update, customize, which in ERP language usually is a very, very dirty word. Truth is, customizations with NetSuite, they get upgraded twice a year. They move seamlessly. If anyone's familiar with Salesforce, it's a very similar concept. NetSuite was started a year before Salesforce as the first really cloud SaaS system, if you will. So as part of this, the information sharing, so there's reports that we were just discussing can be deployed across the entire organization. Everyone is utilizing the exact same information throughout the entire organization. It really tears down all the different silos and then building on that. And that's really where Watkins, the future of this is going. They went live like 5 weeks ago. and Scott's on vacation. Is a SVP of operations. So, Shelly?
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen because I see we're a little bit running out of time. So I want to make sure, here we go, sharing again. Let me know if you guys can see my screen again.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So again, I'm in production again. So now I'm looking, and as Glenn just mentioned, they've been live for 5 weeks. Okay. And Scott, who is amazing, is on vacation, which is amazing, but he can at least pop in and check on it and see what's going on. But even within these 5 weeks, so we're now looking at strategy, we're looking at long-term things. And even with only 5 weeks of data, we can already start reporting. So please project this out over a couple of years, because Nuage and us, we have clients that we've been working with for many years now. We have very deep relationships, and they have many years of this data. And now we're rolling, slicing, and dicing how they most need to see it. So in this report right here, what's so cool about this is I can look at my production efficiency by Workcenter. This is last week. I could do last month. I can do last year. I can do last year and Pareto it by month and see how much did my dry high speed improve, from that. So this is by the day here. You can see by the day. I could also do it by the month or whatever I need to. But you look here, I can see their percent efficiencies. This allows me to check my run rates. How am I doing? To check my COGS. How's my profitability going? Downtimes, here's a Pareto, and I know it's a little bit hard to see, but I can see the Paretos of my downtime, and I can see that if I want to improve my quote unquote downtimes, the end of the run cleanup is where I want to really target. And then second is my setup, which is normal. Then you can also see all these other things, my labeler, my capper, what happened. I can also look per Workcenter. I can look per product. Maybe one product costs me a lot more downtime than others, and I can total it up over a month. Again, these guys have 5 weeks of data, but you can imagine over a year what we can do. Here's a vendor quality scorecard. I showed you that vendor tablet where we're doing pass and fail. I can look across my vendors. How many failures do I have? Where's my problems? What's the failure based on how many orders I placed with them? Here's a material variance with details of the different dollar amounts per purchase order and items. I can also do the same thing. Here's work order component usage and variance. And you can see, I can look at my component yield compared to what I was expecting. And you can take one item and you can imagine, you can put dollar amounts to this. You can look high and low and see what it is and how are we doing. And that's the whole point of this. If you start with that production floor and you capture that live data, you pull it in, you can do tactical things, and now you can do all the strategic things that you would like to do. And again, 5 weeks of data here, and you can imagine our clients that have 2 or 3 years worth of data, that value that is coming with this technology. Glenn, back to you.
Right, sorry, I had to mute there for a moment. I decided to let everybody know he was here. So, again, the challenges posed by this pandemic and being able to track it safely from the shop floor. Shelly had showed previously the quality capabilities, being able to have non-production staff stay home, but still have access to the information of exactly what's going on, limit the interaction on the floor because they're not trading paper. They're able to use the NetSuite application to really share information across that, so that they're reducing the need to be close together. They've been able to do this very, very successfully in the time frame that they've been live. It's actually quite beneficial that they went live right as this was coming on, because otherwise they would have had a lot of struggles as an organization to transition to work from home in such a quick fashion. Shelly, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say one thing about that. The clients who we've gotten live before this happened are doing so much better than the clients who are either halfway or not quite, or just not even there yet that we just started working with. So I really recommend that every organization, Melissa alluded to it, look at how much can you do to get your staff productive and working from a distance and keeping everybody off that production floor so that only the people producing are, and even the people that are on the floor. If you look at the headlines now of the industries that are having trouble, it's because of the close contact with people. If people can have their own iPad or an iPad that is, you're able to wipe off and wipe down, you're going to do so much better in this environment and in general with any kind of disruption where people could not get to work.
Yeah, and we had another customer speak on a CFO about their ability to pivot very quickly, and they're actually in the tactical distribution logistics, I would say, and they're bringing in PPE from China. Just the ability to pivot quickly has been very, very helpful to a lot of the NetSuite customers and allowed them to capitalize on what's a challenging situation. So, and that's not every customer. It depends on industry, of course, but that's what we're seeing. Here's our contact information. If we can help with anything, talk further about NetSuite, manufacturing, whatever it may be, and like to open it up for any questions.
Thanks so much, Shelly and Glenn. I was just going to actually transition into a question regarding, getting them up 5 weeks ago. What impact did that have in making sure that their operations stayed uninterrupted? And it sounds like it was pivotal for them in terms of an uptick of product need and things like that to be able to continue that. What are your thoughts in terms of, everyone talks about what the new normal is going to be, right? Some people say, listen, people have short memory spans. When this is all over, we're going to go back to work. For those people who don't have this capability, this mobile technology, what are your recommendations to them? Is it to, hey, listen, the future is going to be different, right? People are going to have different workspaces. Offices are going to be more spread out. People are going to continue to work from home for years to come, and that this is going to change the environment. Or what are the benefits that this has if things do go back to normal and not in a work from home environment?
I'll just say from my perspective, the clients who have these technologies where you can collect from what's happening on the production floor and you can get it all the way to all the different departments and levels of your organization are just doing better anyways. Yeah. There are continuous improvement efforts. They're costing, because we need to stay competitive no matter what, especially in manufacturing. And so, part of my mission is my customers should see value right away, and the ROI should go very quickly. And then we can continue that ROI journey of what we're collecting. But really, COVID has created a whole new landscape where this has become, I would say, essential instead of a nice to have and a good to have after you've kind of gotten your act together. Glenn, do you want to say anything more about that?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's worked from home for a number of years now, non-essential, understanding in production, you're always going to have people going into the office, but giving those others. So if they are, think about it this way, people will go to work sick because they're afraid of missing work, getting behind. It's just ingrained in us. It's from a cultural standpoint, that's just, you struggle through it. It's kind of the American, and this really removes that barrier. You don't need to come into work if you have the sniffles. Stay home, work, feel better. Don't worry about getting others sick. So I do think people are going to take a different look at those types of things going forward. And providing that flexibility to organizations is really powerful, I think.
What about the adoption of this? So you just got Watkins on board with this 5 weeks ago. What kind of an adoption period or a training process is it to get all of their production staff kind of using this technology so it can be utilized to its max? Or is a lot of that data already existing inside these environments and you're just pulling it in and putting it to use?
I'll just say from my perspective, the clients who have these technologies where you can collect from what's happening on the production floor and you can get it all the way to all the different departments and levels of your organization are just doing better anyways.
Or is a lot of that data already existing inside these environments and you're just pulling it in and putting it to use?
I will say one big difference is that people on the production floor, everybody has a phone. We're all used to the tablet. When I roll these out on a production floor, they're like, it's kind of a non-event. I'll be honest. It's very low risk because the default is you go back to paper and your old processes that are inefficient. So there's almost no startup. People are very comfortable with it. And then it's just a matter of us monitoring to make sure, that it's going in correctly for the first week or two. Usually the first week or two, we throw the data out because it's not very good. We've gotten that down to a couple days, and then people checking it. So it's kind of a non-event, to be honest, to get this going. But we've done a lot of prep in the background and a lot of reducing the risk on the way there. And we have the best team in the world. I work with, Glenn is in Florida. We have a guy up in Canada. They're in Minnesota. I'm in the Southwest. There's nothing to be afraid of. You got the best team supporting you remotely while you're producing this stuff on the floor, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have the right integration partner, right? In anything that you do, there's experts out there that can help you kind of move through this process, and they've seen all the use cases. So it really provides a benefit to being able to kind of hit things with speed and just getting off to the races. So thank you so much for joining us today and kind of walking everyone through the NetSuite platform and the mobile technologies that it does offer to manufacturing environments. Please stop by Nuage's booth and get a chance to connect with them. You've got Shelly and Glenn's contact info right here on the page. And thanks so much for joining us, Shelly and Glenn.
Thank you, guys. Thanks
so much. Thanks, Shelly.
Great weekend.